Life rewards action, not intelligence. I think one of the dangers is smart people, that the smarter you are, the better your excuses. The more accomplished you are in talking yourself out of taking action, in proving to yourself that every action that you could take is too small, too meaningless, and not worth it. Cannot do everything, but you can do one thing, and another, and another. And that's the way you make massive progress in life.
And the reason they're not going to make it is not because they can't make it, but it's because they have never looked down deep inside and said, will I do what needs to be done?
Time to become a man. Walk forward, peripheral vision. Get it. Own yourself. Walk forward with more courage and start becoming the man you want to be instead of acting like it, putting it off.
It's a good day for you and me, when we can say goodbye to what we have known to say hello to what we're going to know. We say goodbye to what we were so we can say hello to what we're becoming. I'm still saying goodbye because my hello is still much brighter. Tomorrow is greater than yesterday.
The good news is tomorrow's a new day. The bad news is if you, the today version of you, doesn't change one thing about you today, tomorrow is going to be the same over and over and over again. And there's only one person that can crack the code to your limiting belief, and that's you. You can either live this life for another 40, 50, 60, 70 years, however long you're gonna live, and just be the same thing all over again, another year all over again, another all over again, or you can make the decision to say, I want to live the life, the full capacity life of me. I don't want to crack this code. Simple as that.
My whole life has been about hardship. Life is designed to go through a difficult journey and see how you come out the other end. And if you come out the other end successful, you have a story. Through that story, you can help other people get through their journeys in life. But if you don't come through your own journey, you have no story to tell.
Compare yourself to who you were yesterday, not to who someone else is today.
Life ain't about medals, ain't about fucking certificates, it ain't about houses, money, cars, fame, all that bullshit. It's about scars. So when you get judged, when everything is said and done with, you won't get judged on your medals. You get judged on your scars. Those scars show your willingness to get to the side. They show your failures. They show your willingness to start from scratch. They show what you're willing to do to go the distance, to see what you're capable of. So make sure in life, don't be afraid to get scars. Stay hard.
There's always going to be people around that are better at something than you are. You can get bitter and you can get resentful, and worse, you can get hopeless. You really have to stop comparing yourself in some ways to other people. And the reason for that is that the particularities of your life are so idiosyncratic that there isn't anyone really all that much like you, because the details of your life happen to matter. Who do you know that you can compare yourself to? That's easy. You. Yesterday. If your life isn't going the way it is, now you can find someone else to blame, or you could think, okay, how do I know if my judgment is accurate? And the question is, well, have I really done everything I possibly could to set my life straight? Well, so there's a task.
We're living in a world where there are media companies whose mission it is to deliver your eyeballs to their advertisers. Run the experiment, pick up the newspaper tomorrow, and count the number of positive stories to negative stories. And it changes our mindset, and it puts us in a state of fear.
In your brain, is the most powerful weapon. Once you put away your phones and your computers and all that shit we have nowadays, yeah, it's great, but your brain is the only thing you have when you're going through depression, when you're going through hard times, when you're going through real life shit. You can't Google that shit, man. You're alone. You're alone. You may have a shrink you're going to, you may have a best friend you're going to, but there's 24 hours in a day where you're alone in this brain, and your brain is talking to you in all kinds of ways, and it wants to control you and pull you in these different pockets. If you can't control your own brain and your brain controls you, you're fucked. You got to tell your brain where you want to go and how you want to go and how you want to get there. You got to control it. If not, it's over. Hard work. The only way anything gets accomplished. That's all I heard back in those days. You gotta work hard. Go back again. Go back again. Go back again. Going back and going back and going back until the shit just becomes, your mind will say, well, okay, we're gonna figure it out.
You'll find a way.
Because he is not going to stop. And that's how you do things. You put yourself, you immerse yourself wherever it is, and you become that.
We're so afraid of being vulnerable. We're terrified of being honest. We're so used to being judged and being held to a standard that society sets for us that we don't give ourselves permission to even ask these questions, let alone answer them.
Decide what you need to do and act.
The foundation of all strength is pain.
Embrace pain. Pain is something to embrace. If there's no resistance to you, you're not going to get anywhere in life.
The purpose of a goal is not getting it anyway. The purpose of the goal, who you become. Who you become is going to make you happier. It's going to make you sad.
Because some people think when you lose a dream or you lose something, that it's over. But you didn't lose who you are. You lost that thing, that placement. Life might not be adding up to what you wanted to add up to, but at least you have every single day is a new beginning. Every day is a new beginning. And certain days aren't gonna look like you want them to look, but at least you have another chance. Like 150,000 people die every day. That's 55 million people a year. If you're looking for a blessing, realize that's your blessing. You have another opportunity at life. The only way you're gonna get strength in your life is if you go through that hard moment, that tough moment. Realize this, just because it's a chapter, it doesn't mean it's your whole story.
Most people think the things that are temporary are the permanent things. The temporary passing, I'm going through a breakup. You don't understand that in a month you're gonna be okay. When you're in a low, when you're feeling bad, you think that thing you're feeling is how you're gonna feel forever, which is what makes it feel worse. All of your emotions are temporary. They're passing things. So most of our pain comes from believing, I believe, that we should keep holding on to these things that are really heavy in our lives.
We're constantly looking at life. What is it? What is it? Where are we? Look how interesting. Look at different cultures, different beliefs. How do they come to that? How do I feel about that? What do I think? It is a daily adventure. You have your voice. It's there. Just do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Create. Don't let anyone stop you.
When you can realize that your worst days were truly your best days. When you can realize that every human being goes through pain and injustice, some more than others, but everyone goes through it. Everyone's had someone be completely unjust to them. Everyone has had someone hurt them who they loved and cared for deeply, or they trusted, or they looked to for support or love. It's part of how we grow spiritually. There's no possibility to build muscle without something you have to lift. And if you don't lift it, it will crush you. And if you lift it, it will be painful. It's not easy to lift those things. But the day in which you finally find inside yourself the story and state that finally makes you no longer be willing to be pressed down by your past, that's the day your life not only changes, but you also now have the ability to give the gift to others. And the most beautiful day, though, is the day when you go, if it wasn't for all that I hated most, I wouldn't have what I love most. Realizing that there was a meaning in all of it and that it served something greater than just little me.
Can't tell me you ain't tried. Anybody who is determined to do something, who wants something to be different, it will eventually be different. Everything around you is gonna change as soon as you change the things around you. I'm tired of everybody running around complaining as if you're on the receiving end of whatever this world wants to dump on you and you don't have a choice. And of all the things that you would assume that motivated me to work my ass off and make my life different, I was hungry.
The game you think you're playing is money. But I promise the game you're actually playing is brain chemistry. If I gave you $4 billion tomorrow, but inside you felt suicidal and you felt worthless, what would be the point of the money? Conversely, if I gave you $3, but you felt fulfilled and like you were contributing not only to yourself, to your family, to other people, you felt alive inside and what you're doing meant something to you and you felt that you had significance, what does the money matter?
Number one, what we're really talking about here is contemplation. Really thinking through and using the power of thought of what do you want to be like, what are the skills you want to deliver, what's the service you want to offer to the world. Number two, the consistency of action to not only create that in your own body and your own mind, but start creating that result in the world. That's really important. Number three is courage, because it takes courage to put yourself out there and try to get a little better.
You know, just do what you do. You know, so many people are what I call they're game watching, they're scoreboard watching. Like every play, they're looking up to see where they are. You know, and I mean, you can't scoreboard watch and play the game at the same time. You know, you got to play the game. You know, they're so worried about, all right, is this going to be my year? Is this going? Like they spend so much time concentrating on when the big one is going to happen, that the big one never happens because you can't chase two rabbits.
And a lot of us are sitting around waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel courageous, waiting to feel confident, waiting for the right time. And that's not ever coming, ever, ever. You're not going to change your life up here. You only change it through action.
How many people have you met in your life? You think they're spectacular, they're amazing. And yet they're so fundamentally unhappy that they're in the grips of depression. We're living through a mental pandemic right now. It is almost ubiquitous to know somebody who has depression and/or anxiety. And the reason is people don't understand the game they're playing. The game you're playing is a game of brain chemistry. It's chemicals that flow through your brain. It's a mindset. Once you understand that, then you can begin to structure your life in a way that actually makes sense.
I want you to be successful. It's time to grow up, man. Excuses sound best to the person that's making them up.
What if body's broken, mind's broken, spirit's broken? I start to say, what if I can pull this off? It's the what if I can pull off a miracle. What if I can become someone that no one thinks I can be?
Everyone knows that you wake up at 3 in the morning when you let your life go off the rails.
The decisions you make right now is up to you. You crying about something that happened to you when you was a kid. You ain't even no kid no more.
The hard thing is taking the first step. Everything else is just persistence.
So what I want you to understand about the breakthrough is that 90% is work, but the last 10%, that's fight.
You commit to do this for the long term. Whether it's hard or easy doesn't matter. You're doing this.
I tell you to set goals beyond your lifetime. I tell you to set goals as soon as humanly possible. You will never exceed your highest expectation. You will never exceed your highest, craziest thought. That's a guarantee. And so then why to set low goals?
Every tool you have, and most people will not use every single tool they have because they're afraid. They don't know how to control it. They don't want to acknowledge it. They're afraid of being judged. They want to stand out. They want to be different. They want women to acknowledge them. But they have so much doubt of what greatness and the unforgiving race actually requires to win over and over again. We all have fear. We all have fear, but these individuals have so much doubt. Think about the times where everything was going wrong. Nothing was going right. What kept you going? What kept you going? You were in that place. What kept you going? That was your dark energy. When does a new day start? At midnight. If a new day starts in the dark, why are you afraid to use your dark side for your new beginnings?
We tell ourselves the story, we play the only part we've ever known, and then that part becomes our own and we don't know how to separate it. So we understand praise manipulates, will accept your own praise. Your mind says if you say it, it must be true, which is why self-criticism goes in and does so much damage, and self-praise goes in and does so much repairing, because the most important words you'll ever hear are the words you say to yourself.
You have too many individuals out there that are not writing their own story. They're letting other people write those stories for them.
So the first thing is, that's the first big problem right there. First big problem is that you have put a lot of people above you, put no one above you, no one.
And how many times have we given up on a dream because we were mocked by the people around you? And all I'm suggesting to you is when you get laughed at, ridiculed, and where people don't understand your next level of world class, that just means you've got a great dream, and that just means you're on the path of growth.
But momentum requires you always do the next thing to keep the momentum going. And the reason you get yourself in a passionate place is so that you change your life, and the only thing that changes your life is making a decision.
And nothing will happen in this world. Everything will happen wonderfully well, even if you're not there. Every human being should be aware of this every moment of his life. It does not matter what the whole world says about you. It does not matter how significant a work you're doing. You must understand that tomorrow morning the world will go on fine without you, whoever you may be. If you constantly remind yourself of this, you'll have no reason to be serious.
Everything I didn't want to do is what got me to where I'm at today. Every single thing. So where we find comfort, that's where I started getting scared. When I started saying, oh, it's raining, I'm not going out there. No, you cannot say that. You cannot do that. You have got to do this.
So while you're in this passionate state, That's where you make decisions. If you make a decision in a state without momentum, if you make a decision from a place where there's no passion, you are not going to get momentum. It'll kill momentum. It's decide, commit, and resolve.
Truly, that you make things happen so that the person you are starting tomorrow is more of who you know you truly are.
Most individuals, your mind will make a decision. Say, we're going to do this. Your feelings always make suggestions. When you fail, your feelings give you excuses. Your mind makes you more resilient.
There are things that you know that you must focus on, but it scares you. I want you to look at where in your life that story is robbing you of your dreams and where it is giving you an excuse to avoid the things that you know you need to do.
People will point out your weaknesses, but there's a big difference between your weaknesses and your flaws. Your flaws are your gifts, and people are so busy trying to deal with their flaws and change their flaws when their flaws are actually allows them to stay in that race.
Everyone's good at something. You know, you're not meant to be good at everything. It's no good being a jack of all trades and a master of none. So be really good at what you're good at and don't worry about what you're not good at, because we're not all supposed to be good at the same thing. Find your talent, you know, find out what you love to do. What you're meant to do lies directly behind and is absolutely linked to what you love to do.
A decision is the first step.
I think one of the biggest ways that all of us can hold ourselves back is listening to that nasty little lie inside our head that says, I'm not ready yet. I don't have enough experience. I don't have enough credentials. Who am I to do X, Y, or Z? And then we just delay. And before you know it, months, if not years, have gone by and we haven't made any real progress.
Well, the first thing I would say is, well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. It's like the first thing you want to do is dispense with the idea that you get to have any permanent security outside of your ability to contend and adapt. You're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. You might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that. The clock is ticking. If you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years, you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
Resolve means it's done. It's like, it doesn't even if you took action, it's done inside you, so it's done out there. There's no question whatsoever. Then once you decide, the only way the commitment and the energy and the momentum continues is if you take immediate, massive what, my friends? Massive what? Massive action is the cure-all. Massive action is the cure-all. If you're having a difficult time with something, your relationship isn't where you want it to be, your finances are not where you want to be, your body's not where you want to be, your business is not where you want to be, you need to take massive action. And if that doesn't work, try something else. If that doesn't work, try something else. Keep going with massive action and you will find the way, because it will give you momentum.
The hard thing is taking the first step. Everything else is just persistence. And I've always loved that quote because it's so true. It doesn't mean that you're going to get it right. It doesn't mean that just because you start, you're going to win. In fact, most likely, the first thing you do, you're going to fail. Think about all the times that you guys tried something and it failed. And the question is, what did you do then? If you learned from it, doubled down, figured it out, focused only on the truth, then you'll move forward. You move forward because you believe you can learn. And that's that thing, hiding in that. And this is the thing when people ask me, hey, my mom or my wife, my husband, whatever, they don't have that belief system. How do I get them there? The answer is you don't, until they are convinced that they can learn anything that they put their mind to, that their energies double down into that area of gaining skills will actually pay off with a real world ability to do something new. They're not going to act.
I don't remember now, I'm not talking about what makes you happy. It's a luxury to pursue what makes you happy. It's a moral obligation to pursue what you find meaningful. A goal, we develop a vision and work towards it, and things inevitably get better for people. It's not a luxury, it's difficult. It's a moral responsibility, and it isn't happiness. It's not, the pursuit isn't for happiness.
Life is the most brutal endurance sport of all time, and that's what we have to love about it. We have to flip it on its head and love the fact that life continues to attack us. There are no timeouts. You have to figure stuff out on the fly. You have to be that person who's always prepared. But the solitude right now that all of us are dealing with is what we don't want to deal with. It's the fact that we have to think about all these things that we don't like by ourselves. We like to use life as a big escape. That escape is not there anymore. All these distractions that we use, they're no longer there. This is the time right now for you to stop avoiding things. Get that pen and paper out. Look inside yourself. Stop looking at me or other people out here to be the hero of your story. This is time for you right now, all that solitude, to get to know who you are as a person. Be alone with yourself, knowing one thing in life. We are all very fragile in this world. We have to know that when we die with some meaning and some purpose in this world.
Is to generate a vision of, it's not a plan or a strategy, it's a philosophical vision. Justifies your life in some way that you deeply believe. It has to be that, and it can't be trivial, because otherwise procrastination and instant gratification are going to rule you. So the first question you might ask yourself is, well, what would you need to gain? And you have to have a real dialogue with yourself to understand this. You have to take yourself, warts and all, your useless, procrastinating, instant gratification seeking self, and you have to sit down and say, all right, you're talking to your inner badly behaved 6-year-old. It's like, okay, what is it that you would have to have in order to commit to something in the long run? What kind of vision of the future would justify sacrifices for you? Here's the question. You're taking care of yourself like you're someone you care about. You can design a future that would be good for you if you were taking care of yourself. Write for 20 minutes. You can have what you want. It's 3 years down the road. You can have whatever you want. You have to aim for it and work for it. And you have to specify it. What is it?
As you go through the challenges of life, and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you, don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go.
So that if there is no value proposition at hand, then you have no meaning to justify the difficult conditions of your life. And that's brutally difficult for people.
Turning a want into a crushing need is one of the most useful processes that you can master.
Defeat and failure is the greatest thing that could ever happen. Because when you're successful, you tend to not learn anything. Failure teaches you your limits. It makes you realize what you did wrong. It shows you what you could do differently.
Our life right now is the sum total of all the decisions we've made up to this point. If you forgot half of what you know, half of your expertise, half of the conversations you've had, half of the people you know, half of the words you know, how effective would you be? You wouldn't be. But what if you could retain twice as much, maybe in a fraction of the time? How much more effective would you be?
Don't worry about whether this is hard or it's taking a very long time. Just invest in yourself every day, unabashedly, going after it.
See, most people engage in low-life living, low-risk living. This God said, if you're not willing to risk, you cannot grow. And if you cannot grow, you cannot become your best. And if you cannot become your best, you can't be happy.
Understand, pain is a very powerful motivating factor. So understand that life is very difficult and that you're down a path towards something really, really bad unless you get your act together and try that first thing. Take that first step. Do whatever it is that you thought you couldn't do, and don't be afraid, because that is the most important moment in your life.
You constantly remind yourself, after every defeat, after every setback, every time you get knocked out, you will fail your way to success.
And so if your life isn't everything it could be, you could ask yourself, well, what would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you?
You have a viewpoint, a perspective. It's like the lens on a camera. And it's through that lens that you view the world and you view people and you view events. And so your attitude, how you look at the world, will determine what you get in life.
The big thing, and this is why I always tell people, there need to be two things true about the goals you're trying to accomplish. One, they need to be honorable, and two, they need to be exciting. I legitimately am excited about the thing that I'm trying to build. And because I value myself for the sincere pursuit of this thing that is both exciting to me and honorable, in that it's, going to lift people up if I actually accomplish it, and I'm holding myself accountable to actual results, but the gain of trying to turn my potential into usable skills that can do something tangible in the world to make that goal that's exciting and honorable come true, because all of that gain is predicated on making sure that I love the time in the field, that I'm leaving everything out on the field. I value myself for that. I don't value myself for accomplishing it, but I value myself for actually trying to pursue it.
If you're focusing on this person to give me that thing, my parents to give me that thing, that's you creating your attitude. You're building it. It's like a crystallization process. This crystal starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger as each new crystal is added. And you crystallize this negative, defensive attitude towards life, and that's what you're gonna get.
You will go through things, and while you're going through them, you can't understand why it's happening to you. But after you go through it, you get back and you look at it and you say, oh, now I understand why I needed that lesson.
You can take these tentative steps on your pathway to destiny, and you can assume that you're going to do it badly. And that's really useful because you don't have to beat yourself up. It's pretty easy to do it badly. But the thing is, it's way better to do it badly than not to do it at all.
And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender.
The only thing that I think people should fear is standing still. So I've often said that running 1,000 miles an hour in the wrong direction is better than standing still.
The obstacle is the way. If you have that attitude where obstacles are actually the path forward, nothing's going to stop you.
For now, what we want to focus on is you're hopelessly average. Amazing. And now it's about recognizing that the average human being is designed to learn and grow and to get better. And so now it's a question of how do we put enough time and energy into something to actually get better at that thing?
if you think that action is the end all be all, you end up doing action for the sake of doing action, right? So I feel like I should always be doing and doing and doing, but sometimes you're just supposed to be. And oftentimes just sort of being there and sitting there and being still is where really great insights come from. And this is also where happiness comes from. You know, it's hard to be happy and appreciate and feel gratitude when you're just moving all the time.
It's all mental, and people don't get it. And everybody wants to say, okay, well, here go 10 steps to, okay, Lewis said do 8, E.T. said do 9, you know, this person says this is the 12 steps, and everybody's trying to get the steps without the mentality. It's like, okay, maybe you don't need all 9, or maybe you don't need all 8, maybe you need 4, maybe you need 12, I don't know. But I think sometimes they see what we do and say, if I can duplicate that, it's like exactly how you said in the book, exactly, and it's like, yo, you have a story. You know, you have a unique experience. And so your 12 are shaped by not just your world, but how your world has shaped your thinking.
The very first step is you have to become aware of your current thinking. Most people don't realize that their thoughts are in the toilet, that they're listening and to themselves say negative things about 70,000 times a day. There are things like, I'm not good enough, it's not going to work out, this stuff works for other people. Works for the people in the secret, but it doesn't work for me. They want to do things, but they think, you know, the economy's wrong, the president's wrong, the timing is wrong, I don't have enough education, I don't have enough experience. All of these kinds of negative thoughts keep people shut down.
What does like an ideal day of your life look like? Like maybe not right now, but like what do you want a day in your life to look like? Some people it's like, my dream life is being on a beach in Bali. Well, what does that actually cost? Could you have that now? Do you have to have a life that you don't like so that at the end of it, potentially you're lucky enough to go there? Or could you find a way to get that now? To think about this on a regular basis. Is my life resembling what those days are supposed to look like? And if I have too many days in a row that don't resemble what I want my day to look like, I go, I'm having the opposite of success.
They don't go for their dreams. They react to life, they kind of crawl through life with no enthusiasm, no sort of energy, and no belief in themselves or the possibilities of something better. What the law of attraction is teaching people is that you have a choice. You can change your thinking. These thoughts that we're having them. We're not them. If we can detach enough to go, oh, here comes that I'm not good enough thought again, and let it go by, we are one step removed from it.
It's not, if you really want something bad enough, it's not gonna be easy. And you can see where you wanna go, but there are so many things you're gonna have to go through to get there. But truly, if you focus and know where you wanna end up, you'll be there. It may not be at the exact time you want, which is now kind of immediate for most people, but you'll eventually get there at your time and you're supposed to.
We're constantly creating stories. Most of the time, these stories are not facts. They're facts within our own consciousness. We believe they're facts, but the truth of the matter is that they are. Most of it is a lowercase t and not a capital T.
You don't want to hit rock bottom, or you have to create your own mental rock bottom so that you don't hit rock bottom. It's not the money, the network. It's not, you know, the vision board. It's, I believe, for those of us who are where we are, it's something within, you know, and you can't go buy that. You know, I can't give it to you. Lewis can't. Like, you got to go within and find that and pull that stuff out.
You're not trying to get to perfection right now. You're just trying to get a little bit better than you were yesterday or an hour ago.
You know, you make choices in your life. You program your mind to either be happy or not. That's a choice that you make. It's not something that somebody else makes for you. It's not even your situation. No matter what the situation, you truly do make the choice to be happy in that situation or not.
Every time I've lost, people say, you got to jump right back up. You know, get back right on your feet again. And I disagree with that. After you lose, or when you get knocked down, stay down there for a minute. Understand why you lost. What were the reasons? Why are you down here? Why did you lose? Why did you get knocked down? I stayed down for a second. Minutes, hours, days, weeks. But when I stood up, I was different. I was smarter. And when I lost again, I stayed down. I stood back up. I was stronger. When I lost again, I stayed down. Lost again. Stood up. I was more resilient. Now you start putting the pieces that are necessary to win over and over and over again. So if you lose and jump right back up and you haven't really changed, really changed from that loss, you're never going to learn from it, and you're never going to really, truly know the unforgiving race to great.
Time don't like nobody. Time hate all of us. Time is trying to stay away from us. You think I'm gonna waste the rest of the time that I got to be operating out here, crying and complaining? I could be using that time to change my life. I could be using that time to embrace the reality of life and the reality I've done to put myself. I paid for my ticket. I got on the train. There was many stops that came. I didn't get off at them stops. I went to the final destination of the boat I was living in. Now it's time to just be out on a journey through life, experiencing new things, new ideas, exposure. And that's what I realized. A lot of us don't expose ourselves to new things, new ideas. We're not open to different, open to change. And that's what helped me. I became open to all shit.
So when you remove desperation, all this creeps into your life where you think you have to have the perfect plan and look the perfect way and have the perfect thoughts and be all zen and perfect. What you need is to be desperate. What you need is to get after it.
Once you realize that you're playing a game of neurochemistry, and when you suffer because you want something, or you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, or you have a negative story that you're telling yourself about your own self-worth because what your parents said to you, you're not worth the money, or whatever the case, like whatever has happened to you, whatever wound you have, like people begin to get a sense of self that is about that wound. And so they're not feeling good, and they're trying everything they can to escape that. And it's like, okay, what is the sort of original progenerator of this sense of desire, right? And so that Buddhist notion of desire gives birth to all of your suffering.
Power is the ability to guide yourself through a very dangerous world, very competitive world where we're almost all having we don't get much help or cooperation from the world. In this world where there are no rule books telling us how to navigate it, it's very complicated and very difficult, and you make mistakes that you can suffer for. And power is knowledge, is ideas, is understanding how to navigate a very dangerous world. Okay, so you want that. Right? The idea of wasting your potential, of never realizing your goals, of never being able to create that business you wanted to create, or make that film that we think is in you, or start the business that you're starting. That's what you want in life. And if you don't want that, there's nothing I can say would help you.
Believing in what, God's given you. It's like playing truth or dare. The truth is I'm afraid, but I'm going to dare to believe anyway. The truth is I'm not qualified, but I'm going to dare to go after it anyway. Just because it's true doesn't mean it has to become the compass in which you navigate your life with. Sometimes faith is a dare. Sometimes building is a dare. My heart is broken, but I'm going to dare to love again. I'm grieving, but I'm going to dare to get up and go to work. I'm going to dare to continue to show up in my life with my broken pieces, with my leftovers, because I believe that if I continue to do that, that there is unexpected beauty for me to behold. Not for me to achieve, but for me to behold. There is a version of you that you have yet to behold.
I like to say sometimes that the journey to greatness begins the moment that our deep desires for comfort and ease are overpowered by our desires to connect and contribute.
Anything after the word I am is true to your unconscious mind, Mike. Anything after I am, anything after I am, even if you know it's not true, your conscious mind will believe it. Anything after I am. And so the power of I am can pull you through the darkest moment, the power of I am.
And you're gonna have to have these mornings and these moments where you dare to keep your eyes open even when it's easier to go through them with them closed and afraid. So I'm gonna keep my eyes open and my heart open.
If you've been sitting around waiting for somebody to discover you, to pick you, to save you, to rescue you, to give you your shot, it's not going to happen. Like, at some point, you got to wake up and realize you have to parent yourself. Your life is your responsibility.
Close your eyes. Retreat from your life. Disconnect from your body. Disconnect from your environment. Disconnect from your schedule and just give yourself an hour or 45 minutes or 20 minutes, because when you invest in yourself, you invest in your future. And when you believe in yourself, you believe in possibilities. And when you believe in possibilities, you believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in possibilities, then you don't believe in yourself. And you don't believe in yourself, you don't believe in possibilities. So then, but if you have a community, a living organism, where it's becoming the new normal, you want to join that living organism, you want to, every stride you make feeds the living organism. Every stride, every effort you make to connect is amazing, because that which we are seeking is seeking us.
So the real question is, what is it that you can fall in love with enough that makes all the fighting through the negative voice and all of that worth it? So that's number one, is just to recognize that you've got a long timeline ahead of you.
So when you stop outsourcing your happiness, your validation, your support, all of it, and you bring it back in and you get responsible for it, it sounds scary. It's so liberating, because you could do anything. When you're responsible, when you're the driver of your life, when you're not looking out to anybody else to fix it for you. Can you ask for help? Of course, but the buck stops with you. You're the one that has to do the work. You're the one who has to push your own ass. You're the one who has to figure out what makes you happy. You're the one who has to figure out, become self-aware about what you need. And then you're the one that has to find whatever it is, the courage or being humble enough to ask for help.
That's the eternal problem of life. And the problem is, there is the category of problems in life, and it ain't going anywhere. And so the question is, can you deal with the whole category at the same time? That's the thing. That's how to be in the world, is to deal with that category all at the same time. Sacrifice. What does that mean, sacrifice? Well, it's a discovery, man. It's the discovery of the future. It's like the future is actually the place where there is threat. It's always going to be there. So what do? You make sacrifices in the present so that the future is better. Right. Forestall gratification now, and it'll pay off at a place at time that doesn't even exist yet. It's like, who would have believed that? It's like, that's a miracle that occurs. And it's not like people just figured that out overnight.
Most people aren't obsessed with their goals because they don't believe they're worthy of it. It's easy to dream about what you want, but in between where you are and what you want, there's a tremendous amount of stuff you got to change to do. And if you have a lot of trauma in your background, you have been given the message over and over and over, even though it's not true, that you don't deserve it, that there's something wrong with you. And if you don't at some point, be defiant against what the world or your caregivers or your past experience has pounded into your brain incorrectly, unfairly, you will forever be stuck with that story.